Blood and iron are two words that can be attributed to this place. Picture massive vats of molten metal, hot enough to dissolve bone. Thousands of souls passed through its doors, and some perhaps never left. Long after the hellish furnaces were shut down, evil crept in and made a home there. Today we are covering a strange, interesting, and terrifying place known as Sloss Furnaces. This is its untold story. To come to understand how and what could be haunting this place, we must first start at the very beginning. Birmingham, Alabama was founded in 1871 during the Reconstruction era after the Civil War. The city was named after Birmingham, England, one of the great industrial cities of the British Midlands. It would be heavily tied to industry since it was blessed to be abundant in natural resources that would shape its future. The land was unusually rich in the three materials needed to produce iron ore, coal, and limestone. This combination of resources was rare and valuable. In many industrial regions, raw materials had to be transported over long distances. In Birmingham, however, iron ore, coal, and the limestone were located close enough to be mined, moved by rail, and fed into furnaces within the same general area, and this gave the city a major economic advantage. Because of this, the city grew quickly. Railroads connected Birmingham to regional and national markets. Investors were drawn to the area's mineral wealth, and workers arrived looking for wages in mines, furnaces, and rail yards. Birmingham soon earned the nickname the Magic City because of its rapid growth. What had once been a small settlement became a busy industrial center in a remarkably short period of time. However, that growth came at a cost. The city's economy depended on hard and dangerous labor. The iron and coal industries relied heavily on poor workers, including African Americans, immigrants, and rural white laborers. Sloss Furnaces emerged directly from this industrial world. Sloss Furnaces was named for James Withers Sloss, a former Confederate colonel turned businessman and railroad developer who recognized Birmingham's industrial potential. Sloss understood that railroads and iron production could work together to make Birmingham a major manufacturing center. In the early 1880s, the Sloss Furnace Company was formed, and construction began on blast furnaces designed to produce pig iron from local raw materials. Thus, the first Sloss Furnaces went into operation in 1882. The iron-making process was dangerous to say the least. The molten metal collected at the bottom of the furnace. Workers tapped the furnace, allowing the iron to flow into sand molds, or later into more modern casting systems. Slag was the waste material created during that process, and that was also removed. Workers had to endure extreme conditions to run the operation. The entire plant functioned almost like a mechanical body. The furnaces were its stomach, the pipes were its veins, the engines were its lungs, and the rail lines were its limbs, all of which produced deafening noise at all times. At night, the furnaces glowed. The sight of molten iron pouring from the furnace was both beautiful and terrifying. Workers stood near streams of metal hot enough to kill instantly. Sparks flew, heat rolled through the casting area, and smoke and dust filled the air. This intense atmosphere is one reason Sloss later became associated with hauntings. Even without the ghost stories, the site had an almost supernatural presence to it. Working there could feel like working in the bowels of hell itself. The heat was brutal, especially during Alabama summers. Protective equipment was limited compared to modern standards. Burns, falls, crushed limbs, and respiratory problems, alongside heat-related illnesses, were all constant dangers. Shifts were long. Workers were expected to continue despite exhaustion, injury, or illness. Missing work could mean losing pay, and for many families, even a small loss of wages could create a serious hardship. As a result of this, Many people died here, either directly from accidents or health issues associated with working in such a harsh environment. There are numerous stories regarding the accidents, and one awful one tells of a poor laborer who was standing by the wheel well of a large tumbler. He was snagged and his body thrust into the deathly rotation. About every 2 seconds he would come back around, and each and every time there was less of him to be seen. Another was that of a laborer named Richard Jowers in 1887. He was one of several whose life was taken by the furnaces themselves. Due to the lack of protective equipment, he was overcome by the gas produced by the iron production and tragically tripped over a guardrail and was instantly incinerated as he fell into a vat of molten metal. These miserable conditions and the horror stories they produced would continue for quite some time. Sloss Furnaces stopped producing in 1971, and by then, the old industrial system had changed. Newer technology, environmental concerns, and economic shifts, as well as changes in manufacturing, made older furnace operations less practical. After the shutdown, Sloss could have been demolished, but instead, it was preserved as a historic site. The furnaces, pipes, catwalks, tunnels, and machinery remained standing. Once the workers were gone and the machines fell silent, the site's atmosphere changed. What had once been a loud and dangerous workplace became a quiet industrial ruin, but quickly many would realize that not all was silent. A place filled with fire, injuries, and extremely harsh labor naturally was a breeding ground for paranormal activity. Workers during operational times and after told stories about strange voices, unlucky areas, or spirits of men who had died on the job. Among these stories, one has become one of the most famous or infamous. That is the story of an entity known as Slag. There are many variations of the legend, but I'll go with the most agreed upon. A man known as James Slag Wormwood was one of the most cruel foremen who oversaw operations among the iron stairways of Sloss. Slag was abusive and reckless. He forced workers into unsafe conditions. He ignored injuries and cared more about production than human life. It's speculated that during his reign, up to 47 workers died, 10 times more than any other shift in the history of the furnace. Countless others lost their ability to work due to accidents and mishaps, and even a recorded explosion in the small blowing engine house in 1888 that left 6 workers burned and blind. Slag, however, would be swallowed by the very machine whose gears he had greased with the blood of others. Some say he tripped and fell. Others say that he was killed by machinery. But many believe the spirits of the men who died under his watch pushed him over the scaffolding and into a vat of molten iron, thus ending his life immediately. A horrible way to go, but fitting for someone allegedly so terrible. But was it truly the end? After his death, workers began hearing his voice around the site. Many had said that they could hear him shouting orders from empty spaces, telling men to get back to work from beyond the grave. It seems as though what's left of him may still remain, even today. What was once an angry man, all that energy, that malice, and hatred may still tether what's left of his tattered soul to the grounds. Though weathered by the elements, Sloss Furnace remains fully intact and is today a ghost factory and museum. According to the museum staff over the decades, people report ghostly incidents occurring most often surrounding the areas where the worst documented accidents have occurred, and they report these experiences with no prior knowledge of what had taken place there. Among the various metal infrastructure of the facility, there are multiple hotspots of paranormal activity. The catwalk, the wheel, the furnaces, and the tunnels are among several of them. These are several noteworthy stories and accounts that I came across during my research that involve people of all sorts of backgrounds, including staff members themselves. The first is that of Sean Barnes. Barnes was a project manager and coordinator for the museum, who had spent numerous hours among the Goliath site. In his own words, describing his feelings towards Sloss, he said, "There's always something that's following you, something that's watching you, waiting, and making you feel as if you're in danger. There's a darkness there." He felt most watched among the catwalks and vats. By the furnace where the previously mentioned Richard Jowers had passed away, many people have had terrifying experiences. A woman by the name of Lauren Doyle was on a tour, and out of the corner of her eye, she saw a figure. She at first believed it to be another person, but soon realized that not everything is as it seems in this place. She described the entity as a man dressed in dated clothing. He was wearing a hat and coveralls. When the figure turned and looked at her in her eyes, a sense of fear and dread, unlike anything that she had felt before, gripped her. The man then evaporated into thin air. Her heart began to pound, and her eyes began to water. She broke away and ran back to the lobby. Another person, a man named Chris Simon, was exploring the catwalks one evening at Sloss. Feeling as if someone was there and watching him from behind, Chris turned, and among the pitch-black darkness, he saw the outline of a person. But although this figure looked human, it was glowing and transparent with no recognizable features. As fear overtook him, Chris ran as fast as he could to descend the stairs. Never since then, he said he will not return alone. Dr. Richard Neely, a historian and coordinator for the Sloss Museum, has also had his fair share of experiences. As a result of these, he refuses to close the facility down at night by himself, given the sheer eerie shift in energy that takes place once the sun goes down. In 1926, a night watchman sustained injuries after being pushed from behind and told angrily by a deep voice to get back to work. The man, upon searching the grounds, could find no sign of any other living person. In 1947, 3 supervisors turned up missing. They were found unconscious and locked in the small broiler room in the southeastern part of the plant. None of the 3 could explain exactly what had happened to them or how they got there. All agreed that they were approached by a man whose skin appeared badly burned and who angrily shouted at them. Probably the most horrifying tale occurred in 1971, the night before the plant closed. A night watchman by the name of Samuel Blumenthal, who was taking one last look at Sloss before it closed, found himself face to face with the most frightening thing that he had ever seen. He described it simply as evil, a half-man, half-demon creature who tried to push him up the stairs. Upon examination by Dr. Jack Barlow, Blumenthal was found covered with intense burns. He died before ever returning to Sloss. There have been more than 100 reports of suspected paranormal activity at Sloss Furnaces recorded in Birmingham official police records, from minor incidents such as whistles apparently blowing by themselves, to more major sightings, and in a few rare cases, physical assault. It's interesting to note that the majority of these reports happen in the months of September and October at night. These are just several among a sea of stories and accounts available. Perhaps you may even have a story of your own, and if you do, share it with us all below in the comments. Today, Sloss continues to be a monument to the past. People can take self-guided tours free of admission throughout most of the year, or there are guided tours that can be scheduled. There is also plans to create a park as an investment in the community within Sloss itself, which I find to be incredibly interesting. Sloss Steel Mill, Furnaces, and now museum is certainly a place where the past meets the present. As one wanders the catwalks or peeks into the various vats and furnaces, one can immerse themselves in the shoes of its workers who just needed to put food on the table at the price of intense and dangerous labor, and others with their lives themselves, and perhaps many of those who did occupy this place never truly left. For perhaps now Sloss's product is ghosts and their stories. So if you feel as though hundreds of hidden eyes are upon you as you wander its grounds, be aware, and be vigilant, because there may just be. Thank you guys so very much for your patience and support on this new episode. I finally finished the whole moving process so I can resume life as normal and get back to doing what I do best, which is to create episodes for y'all to watch, which I'm honored that you choose to do so. If you did like the video, please leave it a like, comment down below letting me know if you have your own story or what your thoughts are, and subscribe if you haven't already. For those that are new, I do have hundreds of episodes very similar to this one, and you might want to check them out. I'll link the playlist of them all below. You can also get my books and merch at my store, which is mysteryarchives.store, or watch all my content ad-free at tier 2 or higher on patreon.com/mysteryarchives. Again, I appreciate you all very much, and I will see you again very soon with another brand new episode. This has been Cody here at Mystery Archives. Make sure to stay safe out there, and take care. I'll see you next time.